Well, hello everybody and welcome back. We're down in the basement hanging out by the aquaponic garden at the moment, where apparently I have a little friend kind of hanging out. I suspect this little critter is happily looking for aphids, so I'm going to leave it be for now. But nice to see that even though I'm in the basement, nature is working with me. Here we can see the situation with the flood and drain bed. The parsley still kind of looks like it's having some issues. Got some new growth at the bottom there, but I still haven't put any Epsom salts in here, so that could just be entirely my fault. I was looking over here at the catmint earlier and noticed all this new growth at the bottom, so I'm kind of rather excited about that. Nice to see it's taking off. Tragically, not a lot going on with this tricolor sage. I think it is definitely time to grab a few more fish, beef it up a little bit, get some more, well, waste going through the system. Some more for the young bacterial culture to work over. Main sage, though, seems to be doing fairly well since I cut it, bushing out a little bit like I was hoping for. It is fascinating to me just how much smaller the indoor leaves are, but it still does alright. Here's the mint cutting. This is from the one that was a V. You can see a couple of starts at the bottom there, but happily reaching for this guy. Leaves are feeling particularly thin, though, so I do think I'm a little bit low on nitrogen and stuff that the fish would be providing, but they are also just getting back to being inside, so I suspect, you know, a couple more months for things to set themselves back up again and everything will be going just fine. Kind of afraid to check on that strawberry over there. Not because of friend wasp so much as I know I've actually got it into the water level right now, so I don't want to mess that up. Strawberry over here is looking a little bit wilty, but I just gave that some water, so that will probably improve shortly. Like the lemon tree here. This is doing a lot better than I expected with the move inside this year. Kind of thought it wouldn't do very well with that change at all, but it's doing alright, doing alright. Down in the corner we got one of the few remaining coffee trees. I'm not sure, but it kind of seems like it's doing pretty well these days. The outdoor spider plant looks a little raggedy, but seems to be doing alright, and if we follow these offshoots back down over the coffee tree, there are plenty of new little spider plant pups coming off there, so yeah, wonderfully indestructible, these spider plants. But so are those kalanchoes. I should show you the Darwin table. So over here on the Darwin table we have, you know, survival of the fittest. This is appropriately named. Got some spider plants. These are the ones we watered, like, I think it was last week, so they've got some nice green to them. These are all the kalanchoes that were looking completely wiped out. Like, these leaves here are a good example, and this one here apparently didn't get water, so it's a great example. And I was saying, oh, it's fine, I'll water them up and they'll get back to their plasticky selves in no time. And sure enough, the tops of all these other plants that I did get covered. I mean, we got some interesting aphid formations on here, so it's time to paintbrush and feed the fish. But yeah, all the water that went into these plants went into the tops and then down, and they are coming back just fine. These are wonderfully strong plants, these kalanchoes, flaming caddies, whatever you want to call them. These ones apparently flower white because they're all taken from cuttings of the same plant that I got ages ago, like when we first moved out here. And it's really quite simple. Just snip it off, stuff it in, and I had a massive survival rate. I still don't understand how come I have so many of these things. And there are more of them upstairs too. But what's interesting about these is I read recently that apparently they kind of put something toxic into the soil, so other houseplants generally are going to die when you put them in with kalanchoes, which, you know, makes sense with my experiences around here, because I've tried doing a couple spider plant and kalanchoes, and there was a tree that I put a kalanchoe in, and yeah, everything else died, but these survived. Speaking of survivors, here's our oregano, doing alright. Just kind of moved it over so it's closer to the lower light and rearranging things here a little bit. Still need to move the Darwin table out, but at the same time, you know, these things are alive on it, and whatever mouse is down here doesn't seem to be eating them, so fair play. I guess it's doing alright. Here's a quick look at all those peppers that I harvested out from the garden. For the most part, they seem to have ripened up. There are a few that are definitely overripe, and over in the corner there I found a few that kind of have a fuzz growing on them, so I definitely need to go through here. But there are some beauties to throw on the dehydrator trays, so that is nice. And some of them have done a pretty good job of just drying up naturally. But that said, you know, if we look at the plants just above them, like this one's dried up really well. If we look at the plants just above them that I did the clip and flip on, these are way better. I mean, there's a much lower percentage. Some of them have done that, going brown and getting nasty, but for the most part, these look really decent, and they've dried up really well. I'm still going to throw them on the dehydrator and make sure it's finished off, because I mean that one's a little bit soft. But I am excited about those lemon habaneros. We've got a few more of them on this one that did that nasty thing, but a lot more of these ones were green, so I think that has something to do with it, whereas these ones were a lot closer to being ripe, I think. Interesting. And yeah, definitely clip and flip harvest if you've got a bunch of peppers that aren't quite ripe yet, because this worked out a whole lot better than that did. So yeah, either way, I have some serious sorting, stacking, and dehydrating to do. As for other bits of what's growing on, we can check out my little pepper obsession upstairs in the den. This Bad Brains is doing a beautiful job of staying alive. Needs a little love, but still alive. Lots of flowers on it. Still no peppers. See more of my copious collection of spider plants. Ooh, the bootless scorpion. Look at that. Hasn't fallen off yet. Getting a little bit bigger. Got an awful lot of wrinkles on there, though. Makes a fella nervous. But you know what else makes a fella nervous? Remember that Bad Brains pepper that was forming in the back there? Look at that. It's all yellow now. See if we can zoom in. Not quite the color and or shape that I was expecting. But you know me. I don't really do my research on these things. Bought them because the name sounded cool. I think that's going to have another day or two, though, and then kind of that youch moment. Probably a live stream tasting of that. We'll see. To me it looks fairly innocent, but is it? Is it? Let's see what else we got going on up here. We got that new Venus flytrap, which I don't know. I think it looks like it's doing better. It seems to be extending over the edge of the pot now. So I'm hoping that means it's new, happy growth. Kind of looks like some new growth in the middle. I'm afraid to touch it because I don't want to trigger anything. But, yeah, looks like we might actually be keeping that thing alive. Still nothing hopping onto the orange habanero yet. Would be nice to see something there. And then we've got the newer edition aloe. I still haven't transplanted this into anything, and it's still in the planter it came with from the store, but it's just so top heavy that kind of got it sitting in the terracotta planter there to keep it from falling over. The recommendation has been something kind of shallow and kind of wide, so I'm actually toying with using that white and red pot there, because the spider plants can be moved. I mean, whatever, they're just spider plants. A, I have tons of them, and B, they're resilient, they'll live through it anyway. But that's not too much deeper than the planter this thing is already in. So in theory, this would have a good opportunity for it to go sideways, right? And maybe give me some pups, because yes, I would love to have just as many aloe vera plants all over my house as I have of these spider plants and those kalanchoes. It would be nice, you know? It would be nice. So there hasn't been a whole lot of change or growth other than the fact that that pepper is now officially ready to give me a bit of a bite. What else we got going up here? Oh, we've got the AeroGarden growing now. And in the AeroGarden, we don't have any of the seeds popping up yet, but I'm pleased to say that we've got, what, 2, 4, 6 out of the 8 oregano that still seem pretty green and perky. And both of the sage cuttings seem pretty perky. I don't see any obvious signs of roots here, but let's see if we can gently pull this puppy up. And yeah, well, it's too soon for that anyway. But the fact that they are still standing upright suggests that maybe they could be drawing up nutrients and starting to put out roots. So that would be incredible. I'd love to see some of these seeds sprout, but they're old seeds. They've been pretty abused. If they don't, things happen. I am finding it interesting that some of these pods are just not soaking up anywhere near as well as others. So it's been suggested to me in the past that I should be pre-soaking these. Actually, with a touch of apple cider vinegar, I believe was the suggestion. And obviously I didn't do that. Something to consider next time though, especially if that's going to be an issue. The apple cider vinegar was supposed to help with fungus gnats. I believe they had mentioned that some of their pods in the past had come with fungus gnats included for free, and that was a good way to kill them. So, yes. Anywho, there's the AeroGarden coming along, coming along. And really, that's about it. Not a lot of spectacular advances in my gardening over the last week, so not a whole lot to report. But I think I will be doing a live tasting of that pepper from the bear's den here, because I need to kind of get my ducks in a row for the live chat on Wednesday on the Bear Family Farms. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting week ahead, and hopefully I can actually tick off a few of the things on my to-do list. So that would be good, and we can all enjoy it together. All right, here's looking forward to enjoying it all together. I'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody.